Welcome to the Sister Speak Show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action. A talk show for great minds that create, inspire, impact, and evolve. Sister, spiritual inspiration shared through the arts. Sister, spiritual inspiration shared through Ayana. Welcome, my brothers and sisters. You are listening live to the platform on the Sister Speak Show. I am your host, Ayana, and we are recording live from Dallas, Texas. Everything is going well. I hope for you all. I hope you all are pressing through. I hope that you are deciding not to throw in the towel no matter what it looks like. Because on the Sister Speak Show, we've got you. We're here to encourage you. We're here to help you press through. And we're here to say, look, eventually, everything's going to be all right. It's just in due season. So with that being said, brothers and sisters, on the platform this evening, we have a very special guest. My special guest is the motivational speaker himself, Coach Bruce Kennedy. But not only that, brothers and sisters, I have some other tidbits for you all in this episode. Welcome to all of my first-time listeners. Welcome back to all of my regular listeners and my international listeners. Shout out to you all. Thank you for showing up with the data. You know, you all are listening, and I am pleased. And I want you to know that I recognize you, I see you, and I appreciate your support. Continue to let everybody know about this show, the Sister Speak Show, a syndicated podcast on Amazon Alexa, brothers and sisters. With that being said, when you listen to the Sister Speak Show, you're going to be able to listen to special guest interviews, live on location reports, in-studio interviews, as well as guest performances. Not only that, brothers and sisters, the special guests who will be on the Sister Speak Show are absolutely dynamic and impacting the communities with their passions. The Sister Speak Show is a talk show that will keep your mind and your soul informed, energized, and encouraged. We are a cultural renaissance platform that is conducive to an environment, a cultural renaissance platform that is conducive to how you should be. And that's just what it is. We hope that you would be able to understand that we have no reckless entertainment, just responsible listening, nourishment. We don't go dumb. We go wisdom on the Sister Speak Show. And it's about making the known known. And with that being said, brothers and sisters, on the other side of this conversation that I'm about to have with you all, I've got a couple commercial breaks. But this is how it's going to go for you all. I'm going to play these commercial breaks for you. And then after you hear the second commercial break, we're going to go right into a clip provided by TEDx TV, and this is called Launching and Supporting Black-Owned Businesses by Mandy Bowman, and I'll see you on the other side of this clip. And tonight, as I mentioned, my special guest, motivational speaker, Coach Bruce Kennedy. We'll be right back.
This month on the Sister Speak Show, hosted by Ayana Holloman, coming to the stage, actress Ajanay Gray, the Laugh Line, comedian Ace Boone, the tour, recording artist Forrest Bell, the platform, motivational speaker Coach Bruce Kennedy, the platform, owner and founder of Boundless Fitness Tim D, coming to the stage, actor Lorenzo Woodgrain, the tour, songstress Allie. Listen live to the Sister Speak Show starting this Tuesday, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action.
Listening to the Sister Speak Show is even easier now with the new abilities available from Spreaker Skill on Amazon Alexa. With Spreaker on Alexa, you can now listen to the Sister Speak Show from even more places from all around the world. You also have navigation control, fast forward and rewind podcast to make sure you never miss a second of your favorite show. And then you can ask for show recommendations like the Sister Speak Show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action. A talk show for great minds that create, inspire, and evolve.
Welcome back, brothers and sisters. You are listening live to the platform on the Sister Speak Show. This is your host, Ayana. I'm so glad to converse with you all. I know that I said I was going to play a clip for you all right after that, but I just had to tell you all something added to the lineup. Lyricist, recording lyricist, Allie Cocaine. Yes! Shout out to Oakland, California. Allie Cocaine will be my special guest on the 20th of October. Excited about that. And I also have to say this to you all. I have a time frame for my special guest to call in, and it's 7:20. I expanded it. It used to be 7:15. Now, I tell you all that I have a special guest, but my rules have definitely tightened up. If they don't call in at 7:20, I'm not answering the phone after that because I got to keep the show rolling. And once I keep rolling, if somebody calls maybe 30 minutes after their call-in time, it really throws everything off. And I'm just not doing that in this season or any other season to come. If somebody calls me and says, or hits me up in advance and, needs to reschedule, no problem. But if it's just one of those things where it's 7:30 and you're just like, okay, now I'm going to call in, it's just not going to happen. So I'm telling you I have special guests, but if they don't call in at that time, even if it's 7:21, I'm just not doing it. And that's just no shade. It's just how you have to run a tight ship to make people even be more responsible for their brand, and me being accountable for mine as well. With that being said, brothers and sisters, we're going to listen to Launching and Supporting Black-Owned Businesses with Mandy Bowman. This is TEDx TV. Always cite your sources. So this is what we're going to do. Let's listen.
Our people not only have to be re-educated to the importance of supporting Black businesses, but the Black man himself must be made aware of the importance of going into business. Now, I discovered this quote right before I began my journey into the entrepreneurial world, and it completely stopped me in my tracks. I felt like he was speaking to me. Now, that was the motivation I had needed to move forward and support as many Black businesses as I could and help others do the same. So I spent so many hours searching the internet in hopes of finding, the history of Black-owned businesses in the current state. And that was when I learned that we've had the keys all along and the $1.1 trillion buying power to create a powerhouse Black community. But my biggest revelation was that supporting Black businesses was not enough. Now, just so you understand where I'm coming from, I want you to imagine that $10 bill in your pocket or in your wallet right now. Now, in 6 hours, that will have disappeared. Now, this happens every 6 hours in the Black community, where our money rotates and circulates for only 6 hours before it leaves and enters someone else's community. Now, just so you have a frame of reference, I want you to consider this. In Asian communities, their money circulates for a month. In Jewish communities, it circulates for 20 days. In the Black community, it circulates for only 6 hours. Now, in order for us to build this community, we have to hold on to those dollars for as long as possible to create more long-term wealth. Now, through my research, I've learned that supporting Black businesses isn't the only step that we must take. I've learned there are 3 different components. 1, of course, supporting Black businesses. 2, creating more Black entrepreneurs in our communities and more of a wealth and broader spectrum of businesses. And 3, creatively sharing our resources. Now, since it's Black History Month, I feel like it's only fitting that we look back at some successful Black communities to see how they've done it and completed all 3 of those components successfully. Because the best way for us to prepare for our future is to learn from our past. Now, in 2012, I began doing research on different Black-owned businesses. And through that research, I discovered my most favorite part of history, which is known as Black Wall Street, of course. Now, this community was located in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Now, what made this community so special was because they had this broad spectrum of Black-owned businesses. Everything in their community was Black-owned. They had Black-owned pharmacies, nightclubs, movie theaters, anything you can imagine, they had it. So they had no reason to step outside of that community and purchase anything else. So their money continuously rotated and circulated within that community, making them extremely prosperous. Now, one of the biggest issues I've seen within our community is that we don't necessarily have that broad range of businesses today. Now, in many communities, it's difficult, if not impossible, to find Black-owned grocery stores or even Black-owned pharmacies. So those dollars immediately run out of our community. Now, as I said before, in order for us to build, we have to make sure that we foster that entrepreneurial mindset in ourselves and even in our kids. Because I truly believe, and I want you to quote me on this, that each and every one of us should be an entrepreneur in some capacity. Regardless of what your full-time position is, whether that means that you're learning the ropes from there and then you're applying that to your own business, or if you're taking your passion and your hobby and turning that into a side business, it is all necessary. 1, to contribute to your own legacy and your own family, generations down the line, and 2, to contribute to the Black community in general. Now, another community that did a really good job at one of those components is in Boston, Massachusetts. So how do we create those businesses successfully? Well, that leads to the next component, sharing our resources. Now, in Boston, Massachusetts, in 1900, Booker T. Washington founded an organization known as the National Negro Business League. Now, the whole aim of this business, or this organization, was to help African Americans create businesses and make a profit. So you had these successful entrepreneurs, these aspiring entrepreneurs and professionals who got together and they basically networked and shared their resources and their stories about their successes and their failures so that other people can learn from what they did. Now, one of the biggest things that I've learned is that it's not that we don't have the ambition and the passion to do this, it's just that we don't have the knowledge necessarily. But the good news is that there are many of us who have gone down that road. So what I would say is, don't be afraid to share that information. If you know how to form an LLC or get a trademark or logo, trademarks, that is some information that a lot of business owners or aspiring owners don't have. I know because I was one of them a couple years ago. So never be afraid to share that information. And this also applies to the professional and academic world. Wherever you are today, I guarantee you that there is someone who is one step behind you, or 10 steps, who is wondering how they can get to where you are today. So never hesitate to share that information and lift as you climb. Speaking of lifting as you climb, that is exactly what another group of women did in Detroit, Michigan in the 1930s. And I actually just learned about this story a couple weeks ago. So in Detroit, Michigan, in this Black community, there were a lot of different businesses there that were not Black owned. These businesses would gladly take their money, but they would not hire them. So these women were fed up. And they said, well, look, if you're not going to hire us, we will not be spending our dollars here. And so they organized with other women in that community and taught each other about their buying power. And they made it their business to go around and support Black-owned businesses only. Now, these women were such a force to be reckoned with, that they went on to encourage 10,000 women all around the country to do the same, supporting Black-owned businesses, boycotting businesses that were not supporting their communities. Now, they also went into major negotiations with major corporations as well. And throughout those years, they had created 75,000 jobs for African Americans. Pure Black-owned magic. Now, as you can see with a lot of these stories, we've had the keys all along, almost 100 years ago, to get this done. But what really amazed me about these stories is the fact that we're still fighting the same battles 100 years later. So almost 100 years ago, we were still saying, buy Black, support Black businesses. And here we are today saying the same thing. Which is why I say it's important that we learn from our past so we can prepare for our future, so that we don't repeat it again. So with that said, I challenge you all, once you leave here, to figure out how you will contribute to each of those three components. What type of business will you move forward to create to benefit yourself, your family, your legacy, and the Black community? What businesses will you want to support? And how will you use your resources to create or to help someone else, to mentor someone, to be a mentee, and make sure that you're using your resources to give back to the community to help someone else? From our history, I've learned that we've definitely done this before, and we've done it when we've had less rights and less resources than we have today. So if we were able to do it back then, there is nothing stopping us from doing it today. So why not now? Thank you.
Welcome back, brothers and sisters. You are listening live to the platform on the Sister Speak Show. The platform covers every aspect of entrepreneurship. We deal with creative artists, fashion designers, urban authors, doctors, lawyers. We deal with motivational speakers, the entire gamut of fitness instructors. I mean, the entire gamut of entrepreneurship. And we like to provide wisdom and tools and encouragement when it comes to becoming an independent artist, when it becomes to becoming an entrepreneur, owning your own business, turning your hobbies and your passions into streams of income, and, leaving what does not make you happy and entering into what brings you joy, because happiness occurs when things happen. So with the platform, we just love to bring every aspect of entrepreneurship on the show and just encourage you. And with that clip that I just played, launching and supporting Black-owned businesses with Mandy Bowman, I really appreciate Mandy's hard-earned research and her delivery about Black-owned businesses. And the reason why I say that is because our brothers and sisters have the ability to do well, but we have to recondition our minds, and we have to get to a place of healing so we can completely support the village. And what I mean by that is, a lot of times we're so used to seeing certain faces behind the counters, behind the certain counters, that when you see our people behind the counter, sometimes I think that it's just like, what are you doing here? And then I don't know what happens. I don't know if there's something that psychologically clicks that it says don't support. You're going to help them actually pay their light bill and they're going to make it and you're struggling. And I don't know if it's because the relation is deeper because it's someone that looks like you versus your counterparts. And we probably have to go deeper into that, but it is amazing how we do have the economic power to support Black-owned businesses, but do we have the spiritual mentality to support Black-owned businesses? Do we have the self-control to not support counterpart businesses and only support our brothers and sisters? You know, that myth, and I don't want to call it a myth. I just want to say that stereotype that hinders us from supporting one another is, well, when you do business with your own people, and it's just like, I've been done wrong by several entities and I've done business with them and they've, done something that just dishonored me and violated my rights as a consumer. So I don't want to say that only doing business with Black people, you're going to get shortchanged and all these other really discrediting thoughts about brothers and sisters in business. I just want to, how can I say it? I really just think that I don't know. I think we have to get to a place to where we are activated in our own passions to where maybe we can have more empathy with the Black business owner, because to just say that our own people are not going to support or are not going to do us right is just a myth. Brothers and sisters, calling in live to the Sisters Speak show, to the platform that is my special guest this evening, Coach Bruce Kennedy. Let's give him a round of applause. And how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I thank you so much for being a very special guest this evening on the platform.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad to be here. Glad to see what you're doing and just help you do what you continue to do and get better at what I'm doing.
Yes. And we thank you so much, because with us having an international listening audience, you're going to be able to touch so many lives this evening, live and on demand. So I'm just really ready to get into it and ready to just find out who you are, why you are, and be thankful for who you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you. Definitely.
Well, first of all, how is your day going?
You said what now?
I said, first of all, how is your day going?
It's going good. Here in Dallas, I'm a Cowboys fan, so we got the win, a big win, so it couldn't go any better.
I know when the Cowboys are playing, because I can get in and out of any place I need to, okay, whenever the Cowboys are playing, because everybody is at the house.
It's pretty empty.
Oh, I was able to get gas. I was able to go and get me some French fries. I was like, oh my goodness, there's no line. And I said, oh,
yeah.
I know what time it is. Okay. And you know what else? I'm still trying to adjust to the fact that this weather has gone from 100 to 0 real quick.
Yeah, that's real talk. It has. And, you was expected, but man, when it comes, it's just here.
It is.
Nothing about it.
Okay, except pull out that coat from the back of the closet and move it to the front.
Yeah, that's for real. Yeah, man.
Okay, so let's just get into it. You are a motivational speaker. I am all for the motivational speakers. That's what I do. I'm all about encouragement and motivation. So I really feel like this is a blessed, divine, predestined moment to be able to talk with you this evening, because I believe so many brothers and sisters, everybody needs encouragement. Let me just say that. Everybody needs encouragement, and even the encourager. So let's just get into it. When did you discover that motivational speaking was your passion?
Okay, so, as I was growing up, I always loved speaking, and I loved being in front of people and sharing something, whether that was in choir. I played college basketball, and stuff like that. So I was always, able to get in front of a large crowd and be able to perform. And I think after I knew I wasn't going pro in basketball, I started trying out some different things to see, okay, how can I make a living? Like, what are some of my passions? And then I started speaking a little bit, going back to my middle school, and started talking about, you know, the things I've been through and how I was able to get to a certain level of success. And when I got on stage and I spoke, it just felt good. There was something about it that resonated. And when I left, people coming up to me and they wanted to sit and talk with me afterwards. And, man, your story really helped me, things of that nature. So I was like, you know what? Like, it might be something here. And so I just kept plugging away at it and was able to make something out of nothing.
That is amazing. That's amazing. And it's so interesting that a lot of times we have plans and we feel like this is what we're going to pursue. And next thing you know, you enter these different periods where it's looking like, well, wait a minute, maybe I'm not going to. But then that doesn't mean that you're not going to be successful. It just means that sometimes we are not made aware of all that's going to manifest for us. You know what I mean? So
yeah, exactly. Like, you know, that had run its course. That's how I like to think about basketball. You know, I graduated and I was able to be able to go into other endeavors. And I mean, you got to be ready because, I mean, I don't like to think about having a plan B, but at the same time, you want to have so many different ideas and concepts of what you're good at to know who you are. You know, you owe it to yourself to know yourself. And a lot of people don't do that. They don't take the time out to get in touch with their calling and their purpose. And so I knew I was going to have to come with it. And then I built my business, which is Coach Bruce Kennedy and Associates. And we do consulting. We travel the world, whether that's talking to millennials or student athletes who needed to hear some things, to empower them with where their situation is at in life, or help them get to a college, or maybe just come in and do a workshop and speak to the student athletes. Because, you know, like I said, I do all my passions, everything that I've built this far, it's come from something that I love. It comes from a place of, okay, I wish I would have had this when I was younger, or this is where I'm going to plant a seed and try to, you know, get the most production as possible.
Wow. Bless you for that. God bless you for that, because I am all about serving the village. And if you are not in a position to where you are giving back to the village in some way, shape, or form, I feel like you're missing out on life, because there is such a thrill in giving. There is such a thrill in providing. And there's such a thrill in nurturing. And I feel like encouragers, motivational speakers, I feel like our stories come from a place of, well, not everybody, but for some people, a place of having to, being a pariah, maybe not being the most popular, maybe not even experiencing, like you said, some of the things that you wish you would have had when you were growing up to equip you, but still not being bitter as a result of not having that, but gaining it through lessons and then being willing to share it, you know what I mean, to somebody else.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
no doubt.
That's what it's about.
That's good. That's a good way of looking at it, because, you know, nothing is going to come to you until it comes from you, as my business coach once said. So I like to look at it as you know, you only can give out what you either received already, or, you know, been able to produce something that you're building from scratch. And,
right.
Man, I wrote a book, and my book is called Build What They Can't Take From You. Anybody can win, but can you live as a champion?
Ooh, wait a minute. Hold on. You just don't give me no diamond and don't give me a chance to look at it and say how pretty it is. Okay, now hold on. I got to write down the name of this book, because my listening audience, I'm going to have to repeat that for them. Okay. And they're listening. Now, brothers and sisters, you get your pens and papers out, because we're in class. Coach Bruce Kennedy is on the mic. And oh my goodness. Now hold on. Now I'm trying to get my pen together, and my pen is trying to. Now what is going on? Okay, so anyway, just go ahead and say it. I'm going to pull up. I need another pen. Okay, go ahead.
Right, so it's called Build What They Can't Take From You.
Build what they cannot take from you. You better say that.
That you can can go on Amazon and get it actually.
Oh my goodness!
Just search Coach Bruce Kennedy, or you can look up Build What They Can't Take From You, and you will see it there. My book is basically kind of a little bit about my life. I would say half of it is about my journey as a student and athlete, and then the other half is talking about values and principles and those practices that you can put into your life to be able to build something that you can be proud of. And you know, that's coming from me. I have to learn to navigate through the trenches, overcoming learning disabilities. I was on remedial classes up in high school. I was the stereotype student athlete. Like, people would look at me and, you know, I was living up to what their perception was, whether it's copying off a girl's papers who had a thing for me, or whatever the case may be. But I had to relearn and retrain my mind once I got into college. Probably later on in college, maybe my junior or senior year, I had to get serious. And as I began to take my study serious and started reading books and my mind started to grow, I was able to get in organizations like Student Free Enterprise, where there was a group of entrepreneurs. We brought in Peyton Manning to come out of college. We brought in General Colin Powell. So, I mean, you just never know what's on the other side until once you start tapping into who you're really
Yes.
you really meant to be.
Yes, yes. And I just love, and the one thing that I love is to hear the journey that my special guests have experienced when they were in school. Because, you know, like I've told my parents, I was like, whether you know it or not, you sign me up to go to hell every day. Okay? It was survival of the fittest, you know, and a lot of times there are so many different thought processes and different voices that you have to listen to within those normally 180 days that, if you're not careful, can kind of shape how you view yourself later on. You know, and I have never liked, because I used to teach 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th through 12th grade. I taught a continuation school and I taught a junior high. And I have seen the ins and outs of the school system from both perspectives, as a student and then as an employee. And within that, I have discovered that we must affirm our children daily when they leave and when they come home, because of what they experience with all of the different voices. And I don't like to see how my brothers and sisters, especially, because they have some behavioral issues, that instead of getting to the root of it, you want to drug them and then put them in a class called remedial. That name alone denotes that takes away, it eats at your self-esteem. You know, it really does. The where they put the classes, okay, to ostracize you from the rest of the population as if you're different. If we all are in school to learn, that means we all have a learning disability, and we are here to increase our learning abilities. I mean, that's just a fact. And so when you start to separate the youth and put them in these categories, that's just mind control that the government has set up. They set it up through naming these classes what they named them, drugging up our youth, and then providing tests that they can't even pass. And I'm talking about the powers that be. And then once these scores come up, once again, eating at the self-esteem of our brothers and sisters and making them think that, oh my gosh, I've got 6 more years of this. I'm never going to be anything. I might as well drop out now. Now, come on over here, prison system. This is how you get your money in on this deal that we have going on. Once they drop out, they're going to be tempted to go to a level of crime. Come here, juvenile justice system. Come here, probation officers. You understand what I'm saying to you? It is all a game. It is all a game. And we have to protect our young brothers and sisters at all costs by not being bitter because of the things we experienced, but heal, learn, and pour. So they don't have the mind state to think that they are nothing because of words like remedial ADHD, low test score, failure, F, those grades, everything, the special needs class. Oh, you need to have a teacher's aide. Now, that doesn't mean, I'm talking about now special needs, children in wheelchairs, born with physical disabilities. That's a different category within itself. And they shouldn't even be subjected to the harshness of the public school system. But we're talking about brothers and sisters, young brothers and sisters who are traumatized, and the school counselors can't put their finger on it because the kid doesn't want to talk to them because you don't look like me.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. That's a good point.
So there's so much going on in the inner workings that when I hear survival stories out of that mentality, I'm like, thank you, Lord God. So I just am thanking God that out of everything, here you are. And you're just a testament that no matter where you are in the school system today, you can rise.
Yeah, that's real. And like I said, it took a lot of effort. Like, I think that's the one thing that we're not doing. Sometimes we don't apply ourselves because we don't know what's on the other side. We don't know if we put in all this hard work and we don't get the result we're looking for, then, we kind of left with nothing. And that's our problem. Like, whether that's a culture or that's just a mindset, whatever the case may be, a lot of people, they're scared to give their all because of what's on the other side. And a lot of times we just don't want to live with that result of going without. So, and that's really what that helps me grind every day. I just try to channel it a little different. I'm thinking, what happens if I don't become what I'm supposed to become, then what are we left with? And it's like, for me, it's like, man, I'm going to give my all because I know everything I've been deprived of. I know everything that I couldn't have, so I might as well try to go get it. I need to try to make different streams of income through entrepreneurship. I need to take what I'm good at and monetize it. So I'm a good speaker. I need to find places where they're looking for a speaker to get paid. If it's teaching kids how to play basketball, then I need to open up an AAU team and take some of the kids from the inner city as well as the kids from the suburbs and put them together and be more diverse. I mean, it's kind of one of the things where you really, like they say, synthesize and make something out of nothing. And I think that's kind of what my focus has been on the last 2 or 3 years as an entrepreneur, is to take the things that people try to take and take it as a weakness and try to make it my strength. Because those are the places of areas you got to fill the gaps in. Those are the places where your weaknesses and take inventory on what your life is all about. Because sometimes we just live every day and we're just doing the everyday norm, what feels good. I tell my student athletes all the time, especially my young brothers, I tell them, your feelings can deceive you. Your feelings can, sometimes misguide you. But if you have the discipline, if you have structure in your life, all you need is a framework. You don't have to have the most schooling behind yourself. You don't have to have the best textbooks. I mean, all you got to do is have non-negotiable mindset when you focused in on something. And having that non-negotiable mindset is a very powerful thing. It comes with unaccompanied commitments. Like, some of the most important commitments that we have to make to ourselves are those places in our life that are going to be monumental to ourselves. Whether that's finishing school, starting what you finish in life, you work a good job, being on time. I mean, no matter what you do, everybody's not going to be $1 million person, but we need to have $1 million mindset. We need to have ideas if we're going to flip burgers. So what's going to happen eventually? Can we own a franchise? Can we learn how to get somebody to work for us? Can we sit around and make passive income? You know what I mean? Can our money make money for us? Mm-hmm. And so teaching these young men and millennials and the ladies sometimes too, I'm definitely growing my audience. Mm-hmm. But how to get it out the mud, how to really just build something that they can't take from you, and that's legacy, that's family, that's values, that's strength, that's self-esteem in yourself.
Yes. And
so, man, I done been through it. I mean, I done seen a lot, and this coming from a background of getting in trouble with the law. I was out there misdemeanors and found myself, drinking and smoking a lot. Got depressed. I was on pills because I was so depressed and I was hurt. I mean, it comes from a whole line of background of those different things, but you eventually you have to tell yourself enough is enough.
Yes.
Or you're going to keep going around. You're going to keep getting the same results. And we know what that said. You keep doing the same things. That's basically saying you have an insane life.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you just got to get fed up. You know what I mean? I'm a guy who used to catch here in Dallas. We got what is called the DART bus, you know, transportation. I got tired of being on the bus watching other people pass by and looking at them like they the ones doing something wrong. Like, oh, that's like, you know, I mean, eventually you get enough of seeing other people win, and it's like, man, I got to fit this puzzle together for myself, man, and for what's behind me. Who counting on me?
Well said. I appreciate that. Brothers and sisters, you are listening live to the platform on the Sister Speak Show. We're recording live from Dallas, Texas. And my very special guest this evening is Coach Bruce Kennedy. And you all just need to get into it. I'm telling you all, because he is definitely dropping nuggets, and we are here to encourage and motivate you all, brothers and sisters. You know, I appreciate your transparency on that, because sometimes there are people who are real about themselves, and there are people who have created an illusion about themselves. And what I wanted to ask you is, how do you motivate a narcissist?
Okay, so can you give me the definition of a narcissist again?
A narcissist, how do you, for someone who does not think that they do any wrong, is unable to empathize with others, thinks that they are the center of attention, charismatic, charming, but a monster behind closed doors, because a lot of those people are pastors. A lot of those people are congressmen, you know what I mean? People of power that present, a facade to the public, but at home, they're just really, really a terror to the people who they're closest to. So let's just say, how would you motivate a narcissist to, encourage them to let go of that ego and step into possibly a mind state of empathy?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. I've never been asked that before. Neither have I ever heard anybody ask this, so that's a very good question. I think it's more about you happen to fall on hard times. Like, for me, I mean, I done seen cats who, play basketball, and they've been great football players, been great. I done met players in the world who have everything they want as entertainers. And sometimes they don't find what they're looking for because a struggle doesn't come in and await them. So, the best way is to, something dramatically happen. We hate for anything to happen to anybody, but sometimes it takes us to lose it all. I mean, you hear stories all the time about people like NBA players going bankrupt after making millions of dollars. Right. And then the light switch comes on and they understand who was really there for them. A lot of times they're attached to something. I talk about that in my book, and talking about being tied to the umbilical cord. And you have to break away from the umbilical cord. And breaking away from the umbilical cord comes, I'm not talking about with the mother relationship as a baby. I'm talking about as an adult, like having an ego being stroked all the time. It's talking about people always having to be reminded of things and stuff like that. These are the things that as an adult, we have to be able to have maturity in our lives and say, man, enough is enough. Like, I can't think I'm better than society, or I can't get away with murder. Like, the law applies to me as well. And sometimes it's for our own good, and we don't even notice it. Like, some things help us and prevent us from drastically things happen to us. So I think you just got to find it by whether seeing somebody's not there for you, maybe a friend. You could have the best friend. It could be a business where you was in business with somebody and they did something behind your back that was foul. Sometimes it takes something cataclysmic to happen to where it just breaks you. And I hate for people to get broken down, but sometimes that's the best thing. I've been in that position. I've been broke down. I've had nothing. After I graduated college, I was homeless. And I'm thinking, man, this is not coming from the dude this is not coming from a college graduate. This is not coming from a dude who was in all kind of classes or organizations, and I was the man, and people look up to me and thought, man, Bruce, like, what else could you ask for? And I'm like, dude, like, I couldn't ask for much. I was happy, but I didn't get to play overseas. I mean, that's something that I wish I would have did, but I mean, what happened was I didn't apply myself enough. I didn't have enough work ethic in the gym. I was too busy trying to play video games all the time and do all these different things that I was unfocused. So that was kind of what drastically happened to me towards, like, man, you got to think outside the box.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes something really big to happen to people to wake them up, to dawn on them to say, there's got to be more.
Right.
And so it's just, yeah. So
I appreciate that. No, I appreciate that.
I hope I answered that question.
No, you did, because I don't want anybody to ever think that they are above reproach. And a lot of people get caught in situations sometimes where they want to be the best that they can be, but they're not in an environment that is conducive to help them. Sometimes they may have a spouse that is secretly jealous, or a spouse that they may have thought that they were equally yoked with, that they find out that they're not. A lot of times, some of us are so desperate to be successful and want it so bad, but the people around us are on what my father used to call is a glide path. And so they'll do little things to kind of sabotage you from making it, or downplay what you have going on. What would you say to the brother or the sister who's in that situation right now, where they have everything, but the one thing that they need is, spousal support or familial support, and they're not getting it? How would you encourage somebody who's in that trial right now?
Yeah, so I feel what you're saying. Basically, preparation is key. So, I mean, that's everything. And in my book, I talk about building the invisible. And so basically, that talks about setting up real estate in your mind to build upon your gifts. So, you already have an idea of what you want to do. You have an idea, a few steps to get there. But there's kind of sometimes these spots in our actual life that are like a mirage. So a lot of things in our life are like a mirage. And you know what a mirage is? When you're out in the distance and you look in and like if you were in the desert, you see something that appears real, but it's not. And it's your job as you walking down this mirage to try to keep focus and remember that some of the stuff that looks good for me is actually not good for me. And so that's what happens with a lot of us. And for me, I was thirsty. I was chasing a lot of different things with my mirage. I was thinking I seen women all the time. I seen all kind of drink. I thought I was the man.
Yeah.
But it's the mirage type that you have to focus in and tell yourself, okay, I have to search. I have to search what I'm intended to do. I have to search and learn how to win in my own life, because everybody thinks they have a formula, but basically what belongs to you belongs to you, and you got to create it, and that's getting a regimen. That's disciplining yourself. And so I truly think it lies, discipline, not desire, determines the destination.
Yeah.
Because you can desire something so bad, you can dream about it, you can think about it, but until you start making practical steps, like to open that business,
right,
then you're never gonna get what you want. Like whether you just calling up another business and asking them what they're doing to be successful, or that's researching and Googling, finding out where you can go and network with people. I think sometimes we just not asking the right questions.
Yes, laziness is one of the biggest spirits that hinders a lot of people, and I'm talking about laziness comes in, for me, different categories. There's laziness that has minutes on it, and then there's seconds laziness. Like some people, it takes you 1 second especially for women, to take your money once you come from the register and put it in your wallet versus carrying it in your hand all the way to the car and getting robbed. You know what I'm saying? Just 1 second. So a lot of times we hinder ourselves because we just don't want to get up and do it. And before the next thing you know, your whole life is surrounded by tomorrow, next week, next month. I don't feel like doing it right now. Your whole, it's just surrounded.
Like I said, I think we always, tomorrow's not promised, man.
Right.
And you can do what you have to do in order to live a certain way. So you might have kids. I know I got a kid on the way. My wife is about to be pregnant. My wife is pregnant. She's about to, give birth in the next 2 to 3 months.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
My mindset has changed from it just being about us to where it's like now I'm bringing a child into the
Yes,
world.
yes.
And it's vital that I have my stuff in order, because
Right.
now I just can't think about just us, and think about, my hobbies on the side, or how to make my business fully thrive financially to where I don't have to work another job.
Wow.
Like, I always have to be mindful. And I don't think we're mindful enough of where we are in our life. Sometimes we just, like you said, we live every day just thinking about, how we going to look on the outside, but we're not taking care of ourselves on the inside.
Right,
And,
right.
And I think that preparation is key. I think that's vital. My wife tells me all the time about we talk about our food and our display on, when people look to eat food, it has to look appealing. It has to look edible. And man, that's kind of the same way for your life. If you want to attract the right person to have a good relationship, if you want to have a good spirit-filled life, and you're a person and God and things like that, you got to live a clean life. If you're a motivational speaker, you have to live what you talk about.
Right.
And a lot of these people, are not living what they say. And it's not necessarily about regulations and rules, but it's out of the love of what you do. I love this so much that I'm willing to sacrifice this, or I'm willing to invest this much time. Our brothers and sisters, we just got to invest more. It's not enough on the line.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I agree. And also our brothers and sisters have to stop doing this. Stop letting it pile up and then expecting somebody else to scoop it up and flush it. And
that's good. That's deep.
That's serious, because I don't know what it is that I have in my journey. I've met people like that. I've attracted people like that who appear to have no knowledge of how to do this thing, and nobody's ever shown them, but then I end up getting taken advantage of. So now I'm just like, that's your SHIT. You clean it up, because a lot of times what happens is, you help somebody out who has a serious situation that they're facing, and then the next thing you know, I've been in a situation where somebody has literally, left me in the middle of their own mess and went back to what started the mess in the first place. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the sea is not going to always part. Sometimes there's only that one time for you to escape from captivity, and it's really bad when you keep going back to Herod, and you continue to go back to Herod, and then Herod has no love for you, but you continue to go, and then something, and plague after plague after plague comes, and then here you go thinking that, the sea's going to be parted for me when I decide to leave Egypt. And the next thing you know, the Lord never parts the sea and you're stuck. And so that's a word for a lot of people today, is that when the Lord blesses certain people into your life that are loyal, who genuinely care and who want to help you, you don't take advantage of those people, because you may never encounter anybody else like that ever again in life.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's serious. I just want my brothers and sisters to understand, you can't keep visiting Egypt because you like to look at pyramids.
That's good. I'm definitely going to use that if you don't mind.
Hey, just remember I said it. No, I'm just playing. No, seriously, let's spread it.
And if you say it 3 times, if I say it a third time, I don't know if I'm going to have to give it credit no more after that.
Share it, because that's what it's about. Because it's about emancipating the mind state. And so each one reach one, teach one with that. But I just want everybody to understand that you can't go around using people and, and crying wolf. And then when the wolf really comes, I mean, I don't want to call them fairy tales, but some stories we read in childhood were preparing us for real life. But
yeah, I mean, exactly. And sometimes we don't notice it. We just doing what feels good, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing that. I mean, I think that's important to live your best life, but at the same time, living our best life, we got to understand what's on the line. We got to understand what we call it to be, And sometimes the things that are most challenging for us are really our testimony. It's really our strength and our power. And you have to recognize it. I mean, real recognize real only when real is looking and listening.
Yes.
So like you said, like you get all of these different kind of warnings and signs and reminders, but I mean, as an adult, you only get so much. I mean, and so when I wrote my book, it was a constantly reminder of you have to get this right. And even though you aren't this guy who has millions of dollars yet, you're still at a place in your life where you can teach people how to get through something, how you can get through setbacks, how you can get through ways of depression and suicidal. You know, I didn't want to live anymore. I thought about taking my own life on more than one occasion. Right. And then finally, I just said, you know what, I had enough. Like, I owe it to myself. I started caring. I always knew there was light at the end of the tunnel. I just didn't know how long it was going to take until I got over it. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, it took some time, but man, when I tell you now, I feel more rejuvenated. I feel more blessed, and I'm more of a conqueror these days. I mean, man, I feel like I'm undefeated because I haven't left. You know, I didn't decide to check out. Like, and so that's what these young men need to hear, especially my student athletes. These brothers, they're looking at opportunities through basketball. Everybody go to the league, but sometimes it's a small blessing, and you can become pro in something else. You could be wise. You get money, and you can whatever those things you're looking to become. Like, it can come through opportunities through sports, through entertainment, through being a lawyer, through being a broker. I mean, you name it. But I mean, we have to have that driving force. We have to have something to push us, and we just have to always be reminded along the way. Because times get hard. Sometimes you don't want to smile. Sometimes you don't want to speak to the person walking down the street or at the grocery store.
Right.
I mean, if you can remember what it's about for yourself and what's your passions, I mean, you're going to be all right.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that. Brothers and sisters, let's get motivated. I mean, we can also get physical, but we got to get motivated, brothers and sisters. You are listening live to the platform on the Sister Speak Show. My very special guest this evening is Coach Bruce Kennedy, and we are just here to definitely provide you all with great vibes, great commentary, and encouragement. One thing I wanted to talk to you about is the Professional Athlete League as a whole, because you said that, you talk to student athletes and you go around and you do a lot of motivational speaking like that. Do you think that there needs to be more classes available for the professional athletes that could possibly save their homes from experiencing scandals in the form of infidelity or, drug use or, whatever comes along with, the setbacks of being a professional athlete? Because there are a lot of people who have kind of compromised their morals when it comes to dating an athlete. And, they're like, okay, they see the money and the money kind of just, puts a haze over that moral compass. So do you think that there should be classes, or do you believe that the NBA, that the Professional Athlete League is set up for these things to happen intentionally?
Yeah, so, I mean, I know what you mean by what you're saying. We are given a lot at one time, and we asked to manage everything. We're asked to, be a provider and be a great leader and all these different things as young males, and athletes and females too. Like sometimes greatness comes and it sneaks up on you before you even know it. I mean, players like LeBron James coming straight out of high school. I mean, I watched one interview with him. He was talking about how one day he was going to school, the next he hopped on a flight and he met with, I believe it was like Reebok or Adidas or somebody, and they offered him over $1 million. And so he went back to school the next day thinking, man, I just was offered millions of dollars not to go check out and see what Nike has to offer. And so he had the awareness to say, I'm going to wait and I'm going to see what they have to offer, because it has to be something big if they're telling me sign now and don't go visit with them. Sometimes we just have to be prepared. Sometimes we understand that to whom much is given, much is required. And I think it's very rewarding if you kind of like search for what you're looking for in a way that, you know, makes you able to view it from different perspectives. Because, you know, sometimes you see things one way and other people see it a totally different way. Like us athletes, we didn't ask to be role models sometimes, but we are. Sometimes as athletes, we're not wanting to be, you know, the ones that have to live such a life that, you know, people have to be so judgmental towards us. But I mean, like, but that's basically what you sign up for. I mean, after just hearing Kanye West and Donald Trump and hearing all that stuff, you know, Kanye was saying I was disappointed, you know, because I grew up loving Kanye and his music and what he was doing and speaking about and the reality of what's going on in the hood. But I think sometimes as we grow, man, we kind of forget what's home like. We forget what we were brought up on, and we forget because everybody's telling us yes. Everybody's, you know, stroking your ego. You know, when you got a whole bunch of women wanting you and screaming your name on stage, you kind of forget like what was important, and because everybody's telling you what you want to hear. That's why when I get friends, I'm hanging out with people, I tell them all the time, don't tell me what I want to hear. Tell me what's best for me. Like if this business idea doesn't work, if I'm being a friend and I did something that was jacked up, you tell me where we can get better at this thing, or what can I do to make sure this doesn't happen again. So, I mean, I think it's one of those things where, I mean, you need the right people in your circle, or you just don't need to have them at all. For the longest, man, I had a lot of people around me. I'm not saying they were the wrong people, but I was saying I was becoming the wrong person I didn't want to be. Wow. And, man, it's crazy because it's a wake-up call when you find yourself in downtown Dallas and you locked up in a jail in a county because, you know, you're doing petty crimes because you trying to live up to a name, or you trying to, and those kind of things. So, I mean, it's all about getting it, growing and being mature. It doesn't mean necessarily age. When women, and kind of touch on for a quick second what you talked about women getting with athletes, and I mean, everybody deserves a guy that's going to be faithful. Every woman deserves a man who's, you know, ambitious and stuff like that. But then sometimes I think we settle because we set the bar so low. Just in general as America, you know, we're the biggest consumers, but we produce the less out of everybody. So, I mean, I think we just got to get in touch with who we are and not settle. I think sometimes we settle for what's given because we're thinking about the now.
Yes. I think.
Sorry if I'm long-winded.
No, this is a talk show. This is a talk show. I expect that. I don't have to pull teeth. I knew you were going to bring your scuba gear, especially on the Sister Speak show, because we dive meters on this show. I expect you to be long-winded, but I expect that your wind has power and is able to, you know, encourage people. You know, it's one thing to be long-winded and be saying nothing, but it's a whole nother thing when you're long-winded and you're actually saying something. So no problem at all. I appreciate that, you know, because...
Yeah, no problem.
No problem.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, how do you feel the state of America is for our youth? Like, are we growing into, well, you know, more job opportunities and these different things, or do you feel like the young adults, or is it going to be tough? The young adults and the children in high school, is it going to be easier for them as they get older, as becoming adults and figuring it out, or do you see kind of something slipping?
I think it's going to be rough because if technology turns and something else becomes another way of doing things, our youth who are basically stuck to their phones and who have kind of tapped out from the physical motions of life, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. I think they're going to be in a lot of trouble because of their diet, the type of parents that have come onto the scene now. There's a lot of factors that weigh against them. So with them being the target for all things unrighteous, all things experimental, I would say that only prayer is going to be the only thing that would help a young child make it, because this world is not designed for them to be successful because of the role models that they have before them. You know, you got to look at the food that is out there that they love to eat. What is the one thing that all youth love to eat? You know it. Those flaming hot Cheetos.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say McDonald's.
Flaming hot Cheetos. Anything flaming hot, they love to eat. And that's, you know, Skittles. You know, McDonald's has been around forever. We already know that, you know, and you got the Little Caesars pizza and all that. But we're talking about there are just specific foods that have been made to mess up the minds of the youth. And that's all they want. It's addictive, but it is deadly. And so the whole war against youth, you know, only if our generations step into our roles and stop being afraid of the youth and reach back and do our jobs, then I would say that there's a chance. But the way everything is programmed now with a hypersexual world and with less accountability, it's hard to say. You know, training up a youth is not what is being done anymore.
All right. I will say you have some strong points, and I definitely get what you mean. But I think as the internet goes on, I think the only thing that concerns me is our conversation with one another. It seems like we would rather look down at our phones sometimes more than be in a conversation with somebody and trying to get to know someone. I see that kind of losing its meaning as far as like being able to hold a dialogue with someone and take vacations and stuff like that. As much as it is like, you know, people's vacation is the internet, and it kind of worries me. But I will tell you this: these young men are more ambitious than I think we were growing up. Whether that's for you know, ethnicity or, you know, minority, like being a black man or Hispanic. I mean, I think at one point we didn't really have too much options. It was being a handyman, working on a car, fixing the house. It was something that, you know, we had to break our backs for. But I do see a new generation coming in that's using their mind more than having to use their hands. And so, I mean, I love that. And I just think it's my job, because we all have to look at ourselves and we have to say what's about. It's about giving back at one point, and that's what I'm doing. Like, you know, for me, Coach Bruce Kennedy Associates, we helping young student athletes. We have students and athletes, but my target audience is student athletes, especially young males, and helping them see that they can become what they want to become. Because you have to have an endorsement mentality. You know, it's one thing to be an athlete and have you know, one deal of like being sponsored by Nike, but what about other commercials you can do? What about giving back to the community and to your neighborhood and things of that nature? So I'm always about empowering and trying to teach them
for sure
and think outside the box. Like, even if you don't make it, you're not a letdown. You didn't fail. Like, failure is when you quit. Failure is when you stop believing in yourself. Failure is when you start valuing other people's opinions of yourself more than you value your own. So, you know, we just have to fine-tune where we are. And I think everything is changing so quick. You know, Uber and stuff taking over taxis. Like the movies, like you got Redbox that goes by, and a set of Blockbuster. Like, things are coming in a different manner, and we just have to grow and evolve with the current. Like, we got to go, and sometimes it's not always going against the stream. Sometimes you got to go with the current and learn how to find your own self. And so I'm grateful to be able to be here today and share this stuff with you. That's for sure. And man, it's exciting to see the future. And hopefully this is not my last time talking to you. So next time we can go back and revisit this question and say, okay, so whose opinion? Whose opinion? Not only was right, but whose opinion? You know what I mean? Saying like, whose opinion was held weight to it as well.
Yeah, well, I think I'm on the perspective of two things, because I had this conversation back in 2000? About 2000. I had this conversation in junior college, and I had to do a debate. And so when I answered the question for you, I was thinking of the perspective of academia. Now, to answer your question twofold, I'll say this. with the debate of vocational training versus education, with the whole Booker T. Washington, W.E.B. Du Bois debate. Are you as valuable with a college degree with a vocational training certificate? Are you seen in this society, quote unquote, I don't even deal with society, but for lack of better terms, in society as just as respectful as somebody who has a college degree? And so that was a debate that those two brothers had back and forth. What's better, vocational or education? Because neither one of them is worse or whatever, but we know that when you're able to use your hands to make money, that says a lot. There are a lot of people who have not graduated from high school who have gone on to be multimillionaires. There are a lot of people who have gone the vocational training route and they are successful. They are just as important and so on and so forth. So for me, for our youth, as long as they understand that vocational training is okay, that using their hands is how we have done, how we've made our money from the beginning of time. My father used to pick cotton. And he used to get 12 to 24 cents, I think it was a day, for picking cotton. Okay, he's used his hands and he was born in 1940. He shared many stories with me about using his hands to pick cotton. And then he went on, not only that, he just happened to be very smart. So not only did he have vocational training, but he also had educational training. And he went on to the military and taught and did all those other type of things. So depending on your circumstances and the people in your environment, more than likely you're going to pick up that vocational training. And education may not be the route for you, but it doesn't mean that you won't be a successful businessman, businesswoman, and so on and so forth. It's just a matter of how do you view those two aspects of getting to success? Because it's either going to be those two ways, vocationally or education, period. And so with that being said, I feel like our young people, as long as they understand that education may not be the way for them and that they cannot allow people or society to make them feel like they're failures because they don't have a degree or because they may not have a high school diploma or because they may only have a GED, then so be it. It's just the fact that society has put in these bars that if you don't reach this bar, then you're not good enough. Yeah,
I know exactly what you mean.
So
I mean, it comes down to becoming an expert at something.
Yes.
A lot of our brothers, we think we need to be a jack of all trades, but rarely are we a master at anything. So, I mean, it's important that you become good at something that people are willing to buy, whether that's opening your mouth or working with your hands. Doesn't matter. I mean, your brand, your product.
Yeah.
We talked about the preparation, because the preparation is key. They say proper preparation prevents poor performance.
Mm-hmm.
So all in all, our young men, our young ladies in society, I mean, we need to not only look the part, but we also need to be able to know the part. So we need to know what to do and what not to do. Sometimes we focus so much on how I can get the reward from it, whether we forget the everyday principles, leading up until that. A decision isn't made right then on the spot. Your decision probably is already built up over what your character has been, lived out over the couple days leading up to it, or maybe some kind of placement in your environment. So you got to think outside the box, and you can't be. I used to hear all the time people say they're a product of their environment. I mean, and I see why they say that, and that holds true a lot of the times. But I mean, there's this other part, and there's that 1%, and I wish everybody had it, but we don't. Sometimes we don't think in a way of I won't be in this situation forever. Let me grind, let me work, and let me have a strong work ethic that'll give me the opportunity to be successful. You know what I mean? I grew up in the hood for a little while, and then my dad, he wanted to get us out. He's from Oak Cliff, so he had to get out the hood, and he didn't know necessarily how he was going to do it, but he he had a strong work ethic, and
yes.
he worked and he became a truck driver. He was moving furniture from home to home across the world.
Wow.
And then not only that, he would take me with him around the world,
wow,
around the states, and he would show me, son, if you work hard, I'm going to give you, $100 a day. And I'm building you to understand that when you work hard, you will be rewarded. But the times you want to do other things, man, you're going to lose out. And so, it was just about growing in my ways of life. And so, it's funny because, you always going to have to revisit those things that you don't like. For the longest, I hated math. And I stayed away from math for years on. I stayed out of years. When I was in college, I didn't take math until end of my sophomore year, going into my junior year, because I didn't like math. I'm not going to say it was a phobia, but I had some kind of scarcity mindset about numbers. And I was like, man, I don't need to make this a big deal because I know it's always going to revisit itself.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can't let your fear punk you, as I once heard.
Yeah.
So you can't, it's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to stay there. So I kind of learned after a while, I said, you know what, we got to face this thing head on. So I would have a tutor. I had one in the morning, I had one in the afternoon, and I had one in the evening, and we just constantly went over it until I got it right. And it's just a testament to a little part of my life to say, man, we all got a Goliath. We all got some kind of monster that's trying to rear itself at us. It's something we always got to revisit something in our head, whether it was trauma or it's a doubt or it's a kind of a block in your mind for right then. But you need to get acquainted with that thing as soon as possible. Whether that's you speaking in front of people, but you want to sell something, a hairline. If that's no matter what the case may be, you can't let nothing pump you. You can't be intimidated. Because when you give over to that, man, you put limitations on yourself.
Yes, I agree. And when you said, you can't be a jack of all trades and a master of none. I used to agree with that, but the more I started, just kind of doing more insightful thinking, I feel like there's nothing wrong with being a jack of all trades. I feel like being able to fix cars, mow lawns, fix a fence, fix a roof, or do whatever it is, and be able to have a skill set. There are people who know how to do hair and know how to caregive. They know how to do taxes, and they do it all. That doesn't mean that they're not a master of it. That just means that they have a lot of different talents that they've been given. And I feel when people say,
they cutting a check, you're doing the right thing.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
That's what we're talking about. So if somebody's cutting you a check, or they paying you for what you know,
oh, yeah.
Then you made it. So it's just about keep evolving.
Yes.
So, I think we're saying the same thing. So
yes.
You can be a jack of all trades and have different streams of income
yes.
coming in. So that's making it, and that's doing what you were supposed to do.
For sure.
So, but I'm just saying, sometimes we get more hype than just the thought of it. You know how it is. We got an idea. We go tell your homie. You tell your homegirl, and then after a while, the flame kind of dies out because you understand how much work it's going to really take to get it. Growing up, I used to want to be a lawyer. Growing up, I wanted to be in the MBA and stuff like that. But the more time that I had to be alone with myself to get to know that thing, the more it's like, man, this is a little bit more than what I expected. Like you gotta go beyond the call of duty, and that's what I would tell millennials or even older adults that your time is not up. Like you're not too old to do what you love, but what are you willing to cut back from? What are you willing to give more of? Whether that's coming from your pocket, more of your time, whatever the case may be.
I agree, and that's what it's about. I think, like I said, defeating the spirit of laziness. Like you said, you were on the dart and you got tired of looking at other people, and I believe that we all will I believe the Most High God orchestrates circumstances to where we get sick and tired so we can elevate. Because I know for me, in order to leave teaching in California, he had to pink slip me because my love for the youth was keeping me there. There was nothing else keeping me there. Not the after school meetings, not the workshops, nothing else, because, of just the ins and outs that I had learned, that I was completely fed up with the school district and how they were doing my brothers and sisters. If it weren't for the youth, I would have left a long time ago, but I did not know how to go. And he had to pink slip me along with the other 26,000 people. And I was glad about it. I was like, okay, that means that something else is coming for me. I didn't have enough wisdom to exit. I'm thinking about the youth and what's going to happen to them. But that pink slip for me was just what I needed to get back into revisiting my passions and my hobbies. And then here we are. I've always, ever since I was a young girl, spoken, and I've done plays and all this other type of stuff that leads up to what I'm doing right now. But it took me having to get pink slipped and then being rejected, turning in job applications. I'm like, I got a college degree. What in the world is going on? I done sat here and barely made it over the mountain when it comes to receiving my degree, having, experienced so much. And I was told that if I have a college degree, I have a better chance of getting a job. So what's the problem? I'm overqualified or I'm underqualified. And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I'm not getting work. What's going on? I don't want to stay on unemployment. I'm used to getting that money, and I'm used to working. So it's like, what's up? And it was like, no, Ayana, I have a different route for you. And if you just trust me, and if you just be patient, and if you're willing to sacrifice a few things, and if you're willing to accept reset and willing to understand that I can put you back in the cocoon whenever I want to, then you're going to be all right. And I'm like, oh, okay. So basically, I'm not in control of this. I just have to be, I'm in control of whether I'm obedient or not. All right. So with that being said, here I am, and I'm learning, and I'm drawing, and I'm doing things. And next thing you know, fast forward, here I am in Texas, and I have a podcast. And it's amazing because I've always wanted a talk show. I've always wanted to be on radio. And I did a little of it in California, but mainstream radio is not as easy as it appears to get on. So, shoot, I created my own lane. The Sister Speak Show. Not the Ayana Holloman Show. The Sister Speak Show. And with that being said, I woke up one day to an email that said, congratulations, your podcast has been syndicated on Amazon Alexa. I didn't pay for that. I didn't seek after that. And I was amazed because my show hadn't even been a year old yet. It's finally a year old, but you have to trust the process. And you have to be willing to incorporate all of your skills, and what works for you, works for you. Sometimes you may start a skill and it's just to remind you that you have that talent, and it not be the season for you to execute it. You know what I mean? You have to be willing.
As long as you stay in the game. I heard an entrepreneur say you have to stay in the game long enough to know who you are.
Yes.
So sometimes it's just about staying at it and drilling away at that thing until you reach gold. I mean, I was reading the book Think and Go Rich, and man, when I read the chapter about the guy was 3 feet away from hitting gold, and he turned away because he thought the well had already the place had already filled up, like they dispensed of all the gold there already, and so I was like, man, you never know when you're gonna strike. You just gotta keep putting in the work. I mean, some of these actors, they take forever to get famous. I mean, sometimes these athletes, sometimes they blow up overnight. Sometimes it doesn't happen when you expect it to happen. It's never gonna be that exact moment that everything comes together the way you expect it. But if you stay consistent and you stay faithful,
yes,
I mean, at it, I mean, you're gonna get a reward, and I think that's what's so great about America. No matter how crazy politics get, or how many people do foul things, and we're seeing brothers and stuff happening with police brutality and us losing our lives. Like, I mean, if we can just do the right things while we have the the opportunity to do them, I mean, it will still be the country that people most still admire, because it's the place that you can take nothing out of something, and that's what's important. The opportunities are given us if we can just capitalize on them. I tell my students all the time in my book, I even write, I want to focus more on ways that we can capitalize. I want to focus on the more where if we don't like the police, then maybe we need to get the right people in the right community to do it. Maybe somebody else can be the police officer, a young man who can come in and do it, or a young lady who can come in and do the right thing. I'm not necessarily so focused on the downplaying things, but I also don't want to, make it so bad to where it's like we don't have any hope. Because when we start losing hope, that's when we might as well just, forget of having a purpose-driven life. Like, it's pointless of having something that we love to do, because, like I know, so much negative energy, it makes you not even want to do nothing. Like you said, be lazy. Mm-hmm. So, for me, man, growing up, when I was a boy, I just take it all the way back. Growing up, I played the video game. We would want to be, we would put ourselves in these leagues to where it's like you're the general manager, or you're the manager of the video game, like you're the boss of a team. And we would deal with concession stands money, jersey prices, and we wanted to relocate our gym to another facility or to another city or state. We was control of the whole basketball franchise. And then eventually I said, I'm tired of playing this video game and controlling that. I wanted to have my own team. I want to control my own destiny. I want to, same way I'm controlling this video game and opening up businesses and trying different trials and errors within the team concept on this video game. How about if I do that with my own business? How about if I spend $300-400 and open up a LLC, get some kids in the gym, and while you got them in the gym, tell them to let them know, I need 30 minutes of your time. And we're going to talk about entrepreneurship. We're going to talk about the concepts and ideas of what you can be a sports agent. What about, being a guy who comes in, if you love lifting weights, and you can teach people how to lift weights the correct way. Like, let's just stop always looking at the bad side. If everyone can to become a problem solver at least once in their life, then I believe they'll do something bigger than what they were intended to do in the first place.
Wow.
Each one of us just become one problem solver to the questions around this world.
That's good. Now that's good right there. I appreciate that. Brothers and sisters, you are listening live to the platform on the Sister Speak Show. My very special guest, of course, is Coach Bruce Kennedy. I hope you all have been taking notes. I hope you all are encouraged and motivated, because that's the entire objective of the platform when it comes to the entire aspect of being an entrepreneur. Coach Bruce Kennedy, let me just first tell you this. I appreciate the fact that you serve the community. And I appreciate the fact that you are better and not bitter. I appreciate the fact that you are not in your feelings, but you're actually into your healings, because that's the only way that you go around motivating people with your speech. And to me, with you being an author, you're getting ready to have a daughter, you're a husband, you fit the bill as a good role model. And I appreciate that. And I thank you for doing that, because when more people see, especially more men see men like you, it should spark a desire to want to trailblaze the same way, to lead, to succeed, to bless, to plant seeds, to give back. And I appreciate that you do that. You speak very well, very articulate. You are focused, and I can tell that. And I just really appreciate the fact that I was able to converse with you, that I was able to meet you on this journey, because my brothers and sisters need to hear, several different positive, focused, truthful voices. And, it's one thing, you could listen to my voice, but that's why I share this platform with everybody else. And I thank you so much for all of the hard work that you have done. Tell everybody one more time the name of your book.
Okay. So the name of the book is Build What They Can't Take From You. You can go on Amazon and find it. or you can reach out to me on Instagram at Coach Bruce Kennedy. You can find me on there. You can DM me, and I'll send you a copy. My book is $20 if you were to speak with me and inbox me, or you can go online and get it at Amazon for $27. Whatever's best for you. But I mean, I would appreciate everybody supporting me.
Yes.
I mean, I come from a place of authenticness because I understand what I wanted growing up, and now I'm becoming the man that I can give back to, to society and be that man that adds values to life. So, I mean, man, that's really what I'm about. I'm grateful that you brought me in. Hopefully I can get this recording of this podcast.
Of course.
I thought I said some dope things.
You did indeed. I send all of my special guests a copy of the interview. And, once you come on the Sister Speak Show, I consider my special guest to be Sister Speak Show family. I do feature my special guests again. This will not be the last time that you'll be coming on the Sister Speak Show, because that's just how we roll. We just like to continue to always expand with new special guests, but there are certain special guests that you just have to have come back on again because they just haven't been able to say everything within the hour. And so we're going to spark up more conversation, the next time and pick up where we left off. So, get ready to get comfortable on the Sister Speak Show.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, I'm glad I was able to come in and speak with you. It was nice meeting you. I wanted to encourage you to keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you
are playing a part in the world. And now that your show is international, I mean, it's only going to get better from here. So I want to tell you, enjoy your process, enjoy your journey.
Thank you so much. And you know what? I do have a question that I wanted to ask you on our way out, because a lot of people do have this question. With you being a motivational speaker and encourager, how do you get encouraged?
Man, so that's a great question. Really, I get encouraged about life. So, if you were to ask me, what encourages me like you did, I'll just say, looking at life itself. I got a strong wife that loves me. I got a family, a support system around me, a family and friends that support me. I listen a lot. I listen twice as much as I speak, so I'm always hearing the pulse of whether that's the student or the athlete. I listen to what the community is saying about their hurting and their pain. I mean, and I know I want to make the Lord proud. And so I want to give him glory. So
yes,
I'm just always keeping things in perspective of what's at need and what is the best way to get what we want out of life. Because there's no reason why you shouldn't experience life to the fullest.
Yes,
so
yes.
I see it everywhere. I'm just trying to fill in the pieces of the puzzle. I mean, there's been times where I'm not going to be able to put the pieces together. In some places that are in the past, but I can't be a victim of my past. I can only make the best of what's in front of me and fill that puzzle in.
Yes, yes. Well, I just want you to understand that you are definitely, like I said before, you're contributing to this village in a major way, and I want you to be encouraged in those days where, you may feel low. I pray that a beautiful gust of spiritual wind picks you up and pushes your sail on even further down. And I just really pray that you will be in a position to where there will be people who will say something to you that will motivate you and encourage you. Because as an encourager, sometimes you look to the left and you look to the right, and people think that because you are so strong that you don't need strength. And it's just because I have muscles doesn't mean I don't need to go to the gym, or it doesn't mean I don't need to keep lifting weights. I need something that's going to continue to help me build up my strength, my stamina. And so I want everybody to understand that people who encourage you, who pour into you, who have the gift of discernment that can look at you and say, is everything all right? Or even just look at you and say something to you, and you know that this is from on high because they don't know you, but they said something directly to what you're going through. It takes a lot to be able to do those type of things. And sometimes we go through stuff and we want people to notice. We want people to say to pour into us the same way that we pour into them. And it's not that we're doing it because it's like, I did it for you, you do it for me. It's just that sometimes you just expect reciprocity. You expect, to reap what you sow. And so sometimes it can be disheartening when you've gone a whole day and you're really going through it and nobody's noticed, but you are strong for everybody. And so I just want everybody to kind of open up your heart and ask the Lord to sharpen your discernment so you can be available for the encourager too. Because it's not about just taking. And once you've drained the encourager, you move on. And they have no value because you've sucked the life out of them. We're not here for you all to be parasites. We're here to just basically kind of like have the role of a lifeguard. We know how to swim. We see you're drowning. And so we're going to help you get out the water. You know what I mean? So I just want you all to understand that we need love too. We need encouragement too. And so just don't take advantage of us. And that's just a strong word for everybody to understand. Just because we're strong does not mean we don't get weak. Understand that. There's a lot of nights that the encourager may cry by themselves that you'll never know about. And you will probably be shocked that the person who has encouraged you your whole life actually cries.
Right. Let me leave off saying this. It doesn't matter how you gonna get it, whether you using a shovel, whether you doing somebody's hair, whether you playing a sport. It doesn't matter what uniform you put on. But know this, that you have to strengthen the hand you were dealt. And so I need you to put your work clothes on and get to work.
Yes. And with that being said, I appreciate you coming on the Sister Speak Show. I'm definitely going to send you a copy of this interview. This is a blessing. You've been a blessing to the platform this evening. I was looking forward to conversing with you, and you did not disappoint this evening. Brothers and sisters, you need to go out and you need to buy Building What They Cannot Take From You by Bruce Kennedy. Support him, support the movement. $20, I think it's, what did you say, $20 through you and $27 on Amazon, correct?
Yeah, that's right. So my social media is Bruce Kennedy Jr. You can find me there. You can find me on Instagram, Coach Bruce Kennedy. My website is coachbrucekennedy.com. So go on there. Anybody needs someone to come in and speak to anybody, millennials, student athletes, you name it, I'm here. I definitely do this. Like, this is something I take serious. So, let's just work together. Let's just build.
Oh, yes. We're going to be hearing more from you and definitely supporting you. Anytime you need anything from me as far as promotion, like, Ayana, I have another book coming out. Let your listening audience know. I got you. I don't charge for help. And that's the one thing that separates me from a lot of people. I don't charge for these interviews, and I don't pay either. I pay in encouragement. I pay in exposure, and sharing this platform. And that's just what I do for my brothers and sisters. So anything you need from me as far as promotion is concerned, holla at me. If you need a quick 10 minutes to say something to the listening audience about something you have coming up in a state or, a tour, you've got it. Just give me the heads up and we'll definitely flex the episode to get you on board. But you've definitely been a blessing this evening.
I appreciate you having me.
Of course. Dallas, stand up. And this is not goodbye. This is simply, I will talk to you later.
All right, goodbye.
Take care. Brothers and sisters, let's give a round of applause for Coach Bruce Kennedy.
On the Sister Speak Show, hosted by Ayana Holloman. Coming to the stage, actress Ajanay Gray. The Laugh Line, comedian Ace Boone. The Tour, recording artist Forrest Bell. The Platform, motivational speaker coach Bruce Kennedy. The Platform, owner and founder of Boundless Fitness Tim D. Coming to the stage, actor Lorenzo Woodgrain. The Tour, songstress Allie. Listen live to the Sister Speak Show starting this Tuesday, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action.
Listening to the Sister Speak Show is even easier now with the new abilities available from Spreaker Skill on Amazon Alexa. With Spreaker on Alexa, you can now listen to the Sister Speak Show from even more places from all around the world. You also have navigation control, fast forward and rewind podcast to make sure you never miss a second of your favorite show. And then you can ask for show recommendations like the Sister Speak Show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action. A talk show for great minds that create, inspire, and evolve.
Welcome back, brothers and sisters. You are listening live to the platform on the Sister Speak Show. I am your host, Ayana. We are recording live from Dallas, Texas. Shout out to everybody. I have definitely enjoyed my time with my special guest this evening, Coach Bruce Kennedy. I hope you all were motivated. I hope you were encouraged. I hope you are inspired. And I really do hope that you all get activated within your passions. We're waiting on you. There's something so dynamic within inside of you that only you can do. You know, only you can do it. And you're here for a reason. I mean, to live your best life, to live a life, well, really your best life is to be able to enter into eternal life. So just saying. So listen, brothers and sisters, when it comes to my special guest this evening, please go out and purchase Building What They Can't Take From You. By Coach Bruce Kennedy. And you can also check him out on Instagram, Facebook, as well as his website. And you can also go to his website for speaking engagement inquiries. I love it when my brothers and sisters are so confident about what they do. So look, you're in a 9-to-5 right now, but you've got a passion that's just brewing on the inside of you. Keep on working. Keep on investing. Keep on doing what you do. And understand this, the Lord will orchestrate circumstances that will usher you right on out of that building and usher you right on into entrepreneurship. I see it all the time. So trust the process. Don't fret. Understand this. If you learn how to trust the Most High God and His Son, Jesus the Christ, stuff that comes your way that normally would knock other people out, you're going to still be standing. A lot of times curveballs will come your way. A lot of times you will get unexpected news or somebody will do something unexpected to you. Keep standing. You've got to get to a point in your life where you don't let people destroy you with their words and their personality disorders. I'm serious about that. Examine people. Understand that even if somebody tries to despitefully use you, take advantage of you, cheat on you, commit adultery, be lazy, whatever it is that you have experienced that has kind of wounded you a little bit, come on. Who loses in the end? It's not you. It's them because they did it. So if they don't support you, boo. Move on. If they're jealous of what you've got going on, boo. Move on. Move on from these type of toxic people. Enough is enough with the toxic people in our lives that continue to sabotage what we've got going on and end up having amnesia and bits and fits of narcissism as to what they have done to contribute to the downfall of the environment that they happen to share with you or around you. And that can happen on the job, in a church, at a family function. It can happen in a friendship. It can happen in a marriage. It can happen. So don't let anybody stop you from being successful, even if you have to reset. Have a plan in action. Watch out for people who hold grudges. Watch out for tit for tatters. Watch out for people who keep secrets only to buy time, knowing that if the secret is found out, that their whole world is going to be destroyed and dismantled. Watch out for people who say that they're your friends, but really your enemies. Watch out for people who say that they're your family, but they really your enemies. Watch out for your spouses who say that they really your spouses, but they really your enemies. Watch out for a lot of people who say they are one thing, but only in time, if they don't get their way, they end up trying to sabotage your whole life. And I mean that. You have to regain your strength, your power, your joy, and you have to be willing to forsake anything that does not benefit you. Women, don't ever try to act in the role of your husband. Husbands, don't ever try to act in the role of your wife. You don't ever have to fulfill somebody else's role. Friends, family, and the sorts, they can be some of the biggest hindrances when it comes to you being successful. Today is the expiration date for all of the effery that has been going on, okay? Everything has an expiration date and an escalation date. You have a right to want your space. You have a right to reset. You also have to understand that the Lord will put you in a cocoon over and over and over again. And he will allow you to experience certain circumstances over and over and over again until you stand up to that thing. Ain't nothing like standing up to something or someone that has dogged you out, done you dirty, disrespected you, and completely not supported you, and has not reciprocated what you have done for them. Brothers and sisters, this is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Thank you, Lord, for the things that I don't understand that are going on in my life right now. I don't understand why everything is happening to me, but thank you for your revelations. Thank you for what you're getting ready to bring new to my life. Thank you, Lord, for all of the special guests that have come on this show that I have networked with. Shout out to everybody who I have encountered that have become footstools for me. To all the married couples, may your marriages thrive and may your marriages be blessed. And may you get everything that you want that is biblically righteous. To the entrepreneurs, continue to grind and hustle. To the yet entrepreneurs, congratulations on the day that it manifests. And with that being said, I am better and not bitter. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening and for being a supportive audience. The rain is coming down right now as I speak to you all. Wash it away, Lord. Wash it away. Until we meet on this Friday, you be blessed. My special guest this Friday is Ace Boone, the comedian Ace Boone, actor Ace Boone. And then I have Lorenzo Woodgrain. I've got Ali Cocaine. You know what I'm saying? I have my sister Ali. She's a songstress. She's the one whose voice you hear at the beginning of the Sister Speak show. Thank you for that intro. Thank you, Ben Wade, for that intro. And then Derek Ben Israel created the Sister Speak show intro in the beginning. Thank you for that beat. Moving forward, brothers and sisters, always want to shout out everybody who has contributed to the Sister Speak show as we move forward. Now, this background song that you're hearing right now is Consuming Fire by Ron McMillan. I love the saxophone. Love, love, love jazz music. So with that being said, I'm going to close out on a good note. Devil, you tried it, but I'm surviving it. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Which category do you fall in? Now, if you've got somebody in your life, and this is just a note as I close, if you've got somebody special in your life, keep them. If you are in a blessed marriage where you are supporting your spouse and your spouse is supporting you, and you know there's no infidelities and there's straight, everybody's responsible and loving each other and pouring into each other, God bless your marriage. God bless your marriage. God bless your marriage. Love will find you, and love will nurture you. Righteous love, that is. And a lot of times that love will help you become the best entrepreneur, the best brand builder, the best game changer. It just really helps you out a lot. It's an ingredient that's necessary. So God bless all of the healthy, joyful, righteous marriages. May the Lord continue to keep his right hand upon your marriages. You all take care. I'll talk to you later.